So we can speculate on what caused his death at 29. I mean, that is so freaking young, you know? I mean, the guy probably felt invincible. He looked invincible. That just shows you, like, how fragile life can actually be. German bodybuilder, huge social media fitness influencer Jo Lindner, known as Joesthetics, passed away at the young age of 29. Speculation on what may have caused it. At the end of the day, it's actually pretty sad. The guy seemed very positive. He gave great advice. And yeah, anybody who just passes away, especially from a health-related thing, at 29, it's tragic, man. And it just reminds us of how valuable and short life is, unfortunately. But it is important to have those reminders in general, because we're here for a limited time. A lot of people have dreams, they have goals, they have all kinds of things that they're trying to do with their life. So don't procrastinate. You know, natural or not, the guy gives great advice when it comes to like fitness related things. I like how he's open about stuff. You know, he's not like trying to be one of these fake natties or anything. He's basically telling out the differences. But it does seem like he's really been kind of pushing the, you guys should really stay natural, which I always advocate, man, like health first.
It's just full and dry. This is what steroids can do if you're taking the right stuff, like for example Trembolone, Winstrol, Masteron, and all these steroids out there. They make you full and dry.
There's obviously no question that stuff works. You can get to levels that you would never be able to get naturally. Otherwise, why the hell would anybody ever take that stuff? And it's something like naturals like me, Lifetime Naturals, you always like wonder, like, man, because I get pretty good gains. I feel like I got pretty good performance in the gym naturally. But you always wonder if you just threw that gasoline on the fire. I mean, you know, like in some ways I already feel like Superman in the gym. I would be like, it's ridiculous, dude. You always wonder that as a natural, but you always got to weigh the pros and cons, man. And everybody just has to make their own decision at the end of the day. Does it make more sense to do it or not? You just like a guy. It's a lifestyle. So I think for most people, no. If you really want to compete in bodybuilding or something, well, okay, you probably have to go that route, right? Unless you're like Ronnie Coleman, who, in my opinion, actually did make it to the Olympia as a natural. But of course, he could not win the Olympia until he started taking all of the stuff everybody else was taking.
If you stop it, you will shrink down to a bare minimum, and even worse than you looked before, bruh. That is the one thing that you always have to keep in mind. If you ever start these things, bruh, you eventually gotta stick to it, and it's gonna be a situation where you're stuck for life, man. Take away this. If you take stuff, it's temporary. It will make you temporarily look crazy. If you stop using it, you will look much worse than you did before.
But I do like what Joe says. Like, he's just being realistic, man. And even his advice, like, he does recommend people stay natural because, I mean, for most people, that makes the most sense, right?
That's why you're probably in the best case off, that you don't ever touch stuff and you just push yourself in the best natural way that you can do. And if you don't really want to try it, bro, then try it. But just let me tell you, it could be a high chance that you get stuck for life.
It must be so hard psychologically getting to a level, having that insane strength, having that insane musculature, leanness, etc., and then getting off something that, at the end of the day, it's not good for your health. Getting off that and then just losing all that stuff you gain, it must be very hard psychologically not to just want to stay on continuously, man. So I agree with Joe as far as like, it's just better to not even go there. But, you know, to each individual, they may justify it. They may have a legitimate reason they want to just be this big time influencer / competitive bodybuilder. But I do think there are some legitimate naturals online that could probably actually make and do make a good living being a natural guy. And they stick out. Guys like Nippert, for example, probably one of the best YouTube channels out there, fitness related stuff. I have no doubt in my mind that guy's 100% natural and way more successful than these guys who take all this stuff. So he's one of those guys where, like, if you want to be like a big time social media influencer fitness guy, have success at that, you could actually do it naturally, believe it or not. Competing in bodybuilding, probably not so much though. So we can speculate on what caused his death at 29. I mean, that is so freaking young, you know? I mean, the guy probably felt invincible. He looked invincible. That just shows you, like, how fragile life can actually be. I'm sure there'll be, obviously, over time, an official autopsy report and everything else. So this kind of stuff's always a reminder, man. He seemed like a really cool guy, a positive guy, and yeah, it's sad what happened to him, but it's also a reminder of just like how short life is. Like, even if you live to 100 years old, that's still not a long time. So the important thing is, you got to find out what's important in your life. I always think of it like a pyramid, like a triangle. For guys, for example, and probably most women too, I think there's three things that's really important in life, and you need to keep a clear focus on that. So obviously relationships, that is very important with your friends, your family, your romantic interest, romantic relationship. You can even tie religion into that, your relationship with God, for example. So that is something that is going to give you a fulfilling life and obviously be very good for your mental health and emotional health. So you got your relationships. Number two, health and fitness. So this is your body. This is how you experience the world. And if you're weak or unhealthy for any reason, there's a lot you have in your control. Now, obviously, there's a genetic component there. People are predisposed for certain things. But lifestyle goes a long way, and that's all you can do. You can't change your genetics. All you can do is basically focus on what you can control, which is your lifestyle. Which means, obviously, no smoking. Try to keep drinking to a minimum. Try to not do drugs, ideally. Eat clean, a lot of healthy fruits and vegetables, good sources of protein. Supplements can obviously help because they fill in gaps in nutrition, like a good green supplement, a good multivitamin. Try to get more protein with a quality whey protein. So your health and your fitness, like in your fitness, people might make the excuse, oh, I don't have time to go to the gym. Look, everybody has the same amount of time. Some people get up 4 a.m. because you just have to make it a priority and hold high standards for yourself. So maybe you don't have time to work out after work because you got all these family obligations or even a side hustle business you're doing. But I'm telling you, the health and fitness has to be a priority because if you're strong physically, it's going to help your mental health, everything else. Plus, man, like just the discipline it builds. If anybody wants anything in life, they have to be disciplined. And if you are going to the gym consistently and working hard, you are going to build discipline, and you can take that and achieve everything else you want in life, in my opinion. So that's the core, man. That stuff Arnold will talk about. That stuff The Rock will talk about. That stuff Sylvester Stallone will talk about. So you have to have the health and fitness. And then lastly, and this is important, especially for guys, you feel like you need to accomplish something significant, and that's where the financial and the career success and everything else comes into play, And very few people have all three. Like, you could be a multimillionaire, but your health could be in the gutter. Your relationships could be in the gutter. Maybe you got great relationships, but you're broke as F, or maybe you don't have your health, or maybe you got... A lot of people probably are doing okay with 2 of the 3. Very few people probably have the 3, but I always think life, goals, and to have a fulfilling life, you got to exceed and dominate in all areas of that triangle. So it's just a reminder because there's who knows how long any of us are here. So if your relationships suck, if you don't have that, like, that is very important. If you don't have the health and fitness, get on that now. Like, don't say, oh, okay, I'll do it tomorrow, next week. No, just go look at some gyms now. I'm making this video on the weekend. Go to some gyms and sign your ass up. Or start walking for 30 minutes around the block a few days a week just to get you moving, man. And then start implementing more healthy stuff. If you're drinking a lot of sodas throughout the day, maybe you drink a 6-pack a day. Cut back to 3, and in between sodas, drink a bottle of water. So it doesn't have to just be like, complete 180 flip. I mean, that might help, but, you could always ease yourself into it. And then over time, maybe you drink 1 soda a day, and then you got like 5 bottles of water. So do little things like that. That way it doesn't feel like overwhelming. And then as far as like the career, the dream, the finances, all that, man, if you're just working a normal daily 9 to 5, you're probably not going to get where you need to get. So think of some kind of side hustle. I mean, that's kind of why I started this YouTube channel that opened all these opportunities for me. But I've been grinding, and it's been hard work for, over 3.5 years now. And things are starting to work out. So this thing that I've been planting all the seeds, networking, building relationships. So that worked for me and is working for me. So, obviously YouTube's not for everybody, but think about something else, maybe outside the 9 to 5. But again, trying to find the balance, don't take all your time away from like your relationships, because see, then the triangle, like I said, this side might start growing, but then the relationships might start shrinking. And if you put too much on this, and all your side hustles and all that other stuff outside your normal job. Maybe even you start going to the gym less. So it's all about balance, man. But it's trying to bring up all those three things of the triangle. So anyway, it's just a reminder whenever somebody passes away, it's always unfortunate, especially when they're younger, because you think so much potential, so much more life they could have had. But we're given what we're given, man. And, you got to take advantage of the time, because that's the most valuable asset anybody has. And it's all going away every single day, unfortunately. And you gotta be aware of that. Like Apollo said in Rocky 3,
there is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow.
There is no tomorrow. So, just to wrap it up, it's very sad what happened to Jo Lindner. I don't think anybody should feel righteous or say, oh, he shouldn't have taken whatever. He did what he did, and maybe that contributed to what happened to him. Regardless, nobody should feel good about that. Nobody should feel righteous, like, oh, he should have stayed natural. It's like, no. You could just walk across the street today and get hit by a car, and everything you did good and bad in your life. I mean, sometimes something just happens and it just ends. So, the guy gave great advice. He had so many different, variations of exercises. Anybody who is completely natural can learn from that. I like that he actually was giving, full disclosure and being honest about things. And then he was actually, just a positive person overall, helping people. So it's really a loss to the fitness community, I believe, because he was legitimately helping people. So yeah, R.I.P. Jo Lindner, Joesthetics, and his content will continue to live on, and go ahead and explore it on his YouTube channel or Instagram, because there's a lot of amazing exercises and different advice that could help anybody, whether they're natural or not, in my opinion. Anyway, in the comments section, keep it nice. Say something nice about him or just life in general. Keep it positive, right? Because it's already, what happened to him is already negative and kind of dark. So, try to keep the comments nice and positive if you can.